Well, here we are, April 14th, and it's a friggin' snowstorm outside. So I'm inside today. I've got a set of TRZ upper and lower control arms for the car. I'm just getting ready to throw them on, and I thought it'd be a cool video to show you guys the difference between the TRZs, what I've got on it now. I think I got a stock set also that I can compare. And I can also show you guys how I do the wheel alignment and everything at home in the garage. Yeah, so I'll get ripping and tearing, get the old ones out, and you guys can check them out. Okay, I got one side off. Really curious to see what the actual weight difference is. So I got the scale here. I got a couple sets. Let's weigh them up. So first up, we got the TRZs. So it's 11.2 pounds. And that's one side upper and a lower. So 11.2, that's pretty good. So these are the ones I had on the car. 21.8. These are just, I think they're DOM tubing. Just steel, the cheaper tubulars that you can buy. And these are a set of stock ones, 20.8. So they're actually a little bit lighter than the other ones I had on it. So you can see how much lighter these ones actually are, being chromoly, the thinner wall tubing. Just show you the welds and everything on these things. They're pretty nice. They're all TIG welded and everything, obviously. Alright, so take a look at the car here. Okay, so I got one side mocked up. We're just mocking it up quick because with the Heim joints on all ends of the control arm, to make an adjustment, you pretty much got to pull the control arm half off. So if we can get it in the ballpark, it's going to make things go a lot smoother down the road. One little setback I had was I didn't have the spacers that come with the control arms to take up the space in the pocket there. So I had to figure those out and build those. And another setback I've got to figure out is the lower shock mounts. It says on their website that you cannot use QA1 style coilovers with these control arms, which is what I have. So that's something I got to figure out too. I'll show you that after. Just to show you the alignment here quick. When we finally set this, everything, it'll have weight in the passenger seat so that it matches my weight, obviously. And we'll jack the front end up so it's at a height where it would actually go down the track, so that everything is set as it was going down the track. And the specs that I'm using are pretty much a drag racing spec, because that's mostly what this car does, so that's what it's getting. So first thing we're going to check is the caster. To check the caster, we're going to go off these two pads here where the ball joints are. And we want it, we are shooting for about 7 or 8 degrees. We're sitting at about 5 right now, so we'll make an adjustment there. And the other thing we can check right now and try and get close is the camber. We're going to shoot for 0 on the camber, and we're about 2.5 degrees negative right now. So right now we're going to have to, upper control arms are going to have to go in a bit, and the front of the upper is actually going to have to come out to tip the ball joints back a little bit to give us a bit more positive caster. You want to have a fair amount of positive caster. It's just going to give you better stability at high speeds. The only thing with positive caster to keep in mind is the more you have, the harder it is to turn the steering wheel. So if you have manual steering, or you have big wide tires in the front or something, that's something you're going to want to consider. So we'll get a little closer, and then we'll get everything together and do a final alignment on it. Okay, I've got the control arms all on. I've got the shock mounts all figured out. That took a lot longer than anticipated, but it turned out pretty good. I'll show you that after. And I'm ready to do the final alignment. So I have weight in the driver's seat that matches my weight. I've got the car jacked up like it was going down the track, or as best as I can guess anyway. And we're going to check the caster first, camber second, and then we're going to check the toe. Okay, so to check the caster, I kind of showed you the quick way of just using a straight edge off of those pads on the spindle. A couple ways I've done it before is just kind of make a sleeve that goes over the ball joint studs. I got this one, same thing, goes over the ball joint studs, and you can clip on your magnet on the end here. So as long as you're getting an accurate reading from the center line of the ball joints, doesn't really matter how you do it. A couple different ways to do it. This one works pretty good to get the camera in there. They're set up there so you can see it's about 7 degrees. I actually used a digital level when I did this, but it's on my phone, so I can't record and do that at the same time. But just shows to show you that it's all pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Now we'll check the camber. If you can see there off the hub, we're sitting right at 90. And same thing with the camber. A couple different ways you can do it. You could clip it right on the rotor. And same thing. So camber is actually 0 degrees then, which is what we wanted. Caster 7, which is what we were shooting for. So I'll get set up here. We'll do the toe. And yeah. Okay, I'm all set up to do the toe adjustment. I'm going to do it with the car jacked up the way it is right now. It's just a little bit easier to work on. And then once it's back on the ground, you want to roll it back and forth a few times, let the suspension and everything settle, and then I'll jack it back up a little bit, and we'll do a final adjustment or a final check just to make sure that it's right on the money. So right now what I've got going on, this isn't the best way I like to do it. I usually like to do it with put a scribe mark on the tire. This tread pattern is a little hard to do that, and I'm working by myself today, so I don't have another person to hold the tape. So I'm just using 2 straight edges, bungee them to the tires. I'm using 2 tape measures just so you guys can see it. So the front is about 65 3/4. Rear is 66 5/16. So it's actually towed in right now about 9/16. I'm shooting for 1/16, so I got a little bit of adjustment to do, but I'll just adjust the tie rods, get the toe set. You're going to want to make sure that the steering wheel is set straight before you make any toe adjustments, or even start the alignment for that matter. And then the alignment's basically done. Okay, so that's basically how I do the alignment at home. Just keep in mind that that is drag racing alignment, so it's drag racing specs. It's not going to be the same specs on your car you drive around on the street. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And I always try to obviously measure it 2 or 3 times. Measure it 2 or 3 different ways if you can. Just make sure you're getting the same readings. Yeah, just make sure it's 100%. Just show you those shock mounts quick. I ended up pressing out the like the T-bar style mount on the bottom of the shock that came with the QA1s. And I ended up making just a bushing for it and bolted it up to the mounts on the TRZ arms. The only problem with that was that it raised the shock up, so I ended up making these cups to relocate the upper shock mount, just so I could get full travel out of it and everything. So that's it, all done anyway. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.